Welcome to episode 2 of Discover St. Cloud, Florida. I'm here with your host, Jeanine Corcoran.
Hello there, Kristin.
Yes, I'm Kristin Macari from Studio 913, video marketing company in St. Cloud. And Jeanine is the
Broker for the Corcoran Connection, a real estate company also located in St. Cloud.
That's awesome. And so if this is your first episode joining us, welcome. We cover lots of things going on in the town of St. Cloud, Florida. If you're from St. Cloud, Minnesota, you can listen in and learn all about the wonderful warm weather we have here and all the fun things we get to do, and then decide to move down.
That's right. What's better than that? You're living in St. Cloud? Come on down. Warm, sunny St. Cloud, Florida. That'd be great.
Yep. All right. And so this episode, we wanted to talk about the housing market. I think 2021 has been really the past 2 years, 2020 and 2021 has been absolutely insane. But I feel like the market this year has been really crazy. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on in the housing market in St. Cloud, Florida?
Okay. So I pulled stats for the month of September because that's the month that just passed. We're in the beginning of October. And so for the month of September, first I want to ask you, let's see if you can guess. Before I start my stat report, I want to ask you one question.
Okay.
How many houses do you think sold for under 200? Now, this is just single, this report I'm doing just single family homes.
How many houses sold under 200,000? I don't know. 35.
Really? Okay, interesting. Because we had this similar talk about under 300. Now I'm talking under 200.
I know,
but
your list looks really long there. That's why I went with 35. I got nervous. I want to say nothing, absolutely nothing sold under 300,000. I mean, geez.
I know. Well, the good news is, folks, that that we do still have properties in St. Cloud that are under 200. Do you have to be quick to buy them?
Oh, yes.
I pretty much think so. But out of 168 single-family homes that sold, 7 of them were 200 or less. Isn't that pretty good?
Wow. Now, do you know were they all like cash? Were they financing? Do you have that stat on those?
Most of them were cash, but I don't have for each one. But what I will tell you is the highest square footage home sold. It was listed at 150. Get this, and sold for 120. So something's going on there. That was right on Maryland Avenue, and it wasn't like a 1900s, meaning low. It was built in 1974. So which is interesting. I find that age isn't, in downtown St. Cloud as much as something that might be 1920, 1925.
Right. Absolutely.
And then you have new ones, there's no HOA in that whole part of St. Cloud, the downtown area. So you get, there's quite a variety of homes there. It's actually quite quaint.
Yes, it is.
That's quite quaint. But yeah, so the lowest one, guess this one, 109 it listed for and sold for 85 and was 608 square feet.
608 square feet.
That's less than that condo that you lived in.
Oh yeah. No, I'm just kidding you, but that is small. That's
really small.
Was it like a 2-bedroom, 1 bath?
Yep, 2-bedroom, 1 bath.
Yeah. I don't know.
Guess what year? Grandpa's
1925.
That's right.
I knew that.
Yep, 1925. So
that's incredible. Okay.
Yeah, so that's an interesting stat. So the lowest out of all the single family homes that sold in September in St. Cloud, the lowest one that we just talked about, 85, sold for 85,000, and the highest one was 750,000, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, like 3,100.
What community was that in?
I don't have the community. Thanks for asking that. I just need my computer that I can give you. I can give you the exact.
Give me
stat.
all the. All right.
Okay, so give us a little grace. This is only our first market update podcast. We'll get better at this, I'm sure, because I'm used to pulling the stats all the time. But I will move on to something else. Yes, I will give you. Let's talk about land. Land. I feel like this is the next, or it is right now, the hot commodity. Because when you think about it, there's only so much land in this area.
Right.
That's it. So.
And Osceola County is, it has some really densely populated areas, but there's still lots and lots of farmland. But I feel like it's that's not going to be the case. You know, it seems like a lot of big parcels are being purchased up.
Absolutely. So there were 19 parcels that sold. The lowest one was for $25,000, and that's in the Hollapar area, which is very east of St. Cloud past Harmony. Right,
Okay.
so that's the most eastern part of our county, and that so
How big was that?
that one is just a little under an acre. So there were actually 4 parcels out there that sold for just a little bit under an acre in that area.
Okay. And so it wasn't like, that's not like a multi-home development.
No,
likely.
no,
Like
not-
that was like a person's purchased that to build.
Yeah. So think about this. So that you're still getting land fairly cheap out that way because there's not a lot of development yet.
Right.
So it went 25,000. We had a couple at 30, one at 36. So, like I said, there were quite a few there, but there's nothing there yet.
Right.
So, but I mean, it's good if you want to maybe pick up land that make sure it's buildable, of course, always, and then hold on to it.
Right. Absolutely.
I would think that would be a good investment. And then also, there were, because I was thinking, I was like, well, how much is an acre of land costing in St. Cloud? Well, first of all, Hollapar, I feel like that's an outlier. That
Right.
shouldn't be in the equation.
Yeah. Kind of if you go east of Narcoossee Road, I feel like is,
Yeah, it's a little bit more rural.
Right.
And so there were actually 1, 2, 3 lots that sold in St. Cloud, and it was out by the manor, and it was they were all just over an acre, and the 2 of them were 97.5. So that's our acre price, and the other one was 125.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I thought that was an interesting stat. Now, guess out of all the 19 parcels, lowest one being the 25 we talked about, guess how much the highest?
Well, how many acres are we talking about?
268.
268 acres.
Do we hear like
millions?
Yeah.
I mean, like
do we hear
millions,
like houses
obviously.
going up, hammers being absolutely.
Right.
It's a
Absolutely.
I'm sure a complete development, but yeah,
Right.
268 acres for the great price of, and it was all cash,
Of course.
$22,500,000.
Wow. I'm in the wrong industry.
Yes,
I got it.
22
Where do you
million.
get
And
22 million cash?
Cash. Can you
Oh,
imagine?
yeah, I can't imagine. I don't know what that's like. I will know what that's like. I'm going to speak it into existence. But yeah, that's crazy. 22 million for
65? 68.
268 acres.
Yeah.
And so, do you know where about that's located? Like what area
It's
of the
off
county?
of Hickory Tree Road.
Oh,
It's right
yeah,
in
so
our
that's-
neighborhood. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
right here. And also out of the 19 parcels, because I don't know, folks may not know when you talk about vacant land, most of the time it's cash. Because even think about like if you wanted to build a house, it would be it's a little bit harder for you to find the lot if the builder doesn't have it, and then connect the builder and do one sale and the other. So a lot of times even if someone's buying an acre, they're just paying cash for it,
Right.
because it's hard to
Right.
finance that and then build a house on it.
Right.
So out of the 19 parcels sold, 16 of them were cash, 2 were conventional, which I was surprised to even see that.
Right.
And one was seller financing.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, get a good deal like that. That's not bad.
Right. So we've got, speaking of land,
I think the lawn people
guys are here.
outside our building.
Yeah, they're right. They have to be right outside the window. Take care of the property that you have.
Yes. you can never plan. You can never.
No.
No matter. We talk about that all the time when we do photos for houses. It's garbage day.
Always
Or
garbage
someone's
day.
mowing the lawn. We can never pick it
Always.
right.
No, not at all.
Never pick it right.
That's a qualifying question from now on.
Yeah, but I mean, definitely, you want, I think I was talking to an investor that they have always bought like duplexes and rented them out, and then they're saying, I really think the land is just going to be so valuable because there isn't a lot of it,
Right.
Still, land depending on the parcel size can take a little bit longer, stay on the market longer, but typically our houses are staying anywhere from 7 days to 21 days on the market.
Right.
So it's a really quick turnaround, and we have no inventory.
Right.
We definitely have no inventory. So it's it's just interesting, the whole market in itself.
Right.
Is it changing?
I don't know. I mean, what do you think? You know how I am. I'm definitely the
She's
more
negative
conservative.
Nelly.
I am.
Let's
I'm
just
the more
call
conservative.
Let's call it what it is.
I like to consider myself conservative, but
Right.
no.
Glass half full or half empty?
There's a half a glass. I'm a realist. Okay, there's a half a glass.
My glass is always half full. So I don't think this market, everything the experts are telling us, including my sister Barbara Corcoran, I talked to her a few months ago about it, and she said it's good. It's here for another year and a half. All the experts are saying that. We just came out of a Tom Ferry event. He said the same thing. Low inventory. It's not. It's going to be here for at least another year. Now, will the market flatten out? Absolutely, because remember, it's like the stock market. It goes up, flattens out, goes up, flattens out.
Unless you're in 2008.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's not happening. I'm
not saying that for this market. No, I think that it should start to simmer a bit, because I think that people are, a lot of buyers, and, I've dealt with them myself. Me personally, you get kind of fatigued with fighting over properties, and you're just kind of like they're pulling themselves out of the market to see what happens in the next couple of months. So I think that hopefully the supply and demand will start to meet in the middle again, and it won't be such a crazy hot market. Not that it won't be hot. I still think that we're going to be in a seller's market for a while until the inventory corrects itself. Because
absolutely.
Right now, I mean, what would you say? How many months supply do we have right now?
Oh yeah,
on the
month
market?
supply is ridiculous. I mean, we're lucky if we have 2 months. Right. Yeah. I mean, so folks, a healthy market is usually between 5 and 6 months. That's a healthy market. Then if you get an overabundance of supply, then it becomes a buyer's market. So we're still in a seller's market, and we're going to be here for a little bit.
Right. Absolutely. And so speaking of, buyers and sellers market, I mean, do you still run into buyers that even though they hear everything about the current market on the news, et cetera, they still want to try and make a deal? And
I think that's a normal human response, is let me know when you have a good deal. And I'm sure they're there. We caught one last year just by chance, and we're glad we did. And it's now rented, and we have a tenant in there. So that one was a deal. I'm still there. They're out there, but they're very hard to come by. And I always tell people, but if they're listed on MLS, usually it's going to be a realtor that scuffs it up. Right. Because if it is a good deal, and
right.
We're always looking for good deals, but they're few and far between.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully the market will even out for myself selfishly.
Oh, here's a tip. I heard this on Tom Ferry, and I thought it was pretty good. For those buyers that keep looking and putting in offers, and it could be about how the offer's written, but that's another podcast. Think about going above your price range and finding the home that has been on the market for 60 days. Because if it's been on for 60 days, they're going to get ready to lower their price. And when they lower the price and get in that right range, and everyone looks. So look above your price range and look for the ones that have been sitting there for a while. And don't be fooled by the pictures. So there are still a few companies out there that let their agents put cell phone pictures on, and you got a buyer. I can't even tell you that house had actually been listed since January, and we came in at the end of July. So we're talking, 7 months. How long that was on the market?
Oh yeah. And they paid a very low commission. So it took a lot of, I'm sure a lot of agents were like, oh, I'm not going to go out and show it. That wasn't what drives me to help my buyer find a home. And, they had awful pictures. It was a beautiful lakefront house, and I don't think there was a single picture of the lake. And so it was really crazy that there were, the photos did not do it justice.
But your buyer was happy in the end because no one else was looking at it. They were passing over it.
Yeah. And so we went out and saw it, and we were all like, okay, something's wrong. Something's got to be wrong. And they got the inspection done. Everything was great. So they lucked out. They ended up getting it for what I would guess would be about $35,000 under market value, where it should have sold if it was marketed properly. So there are still deals out there to be had. Like you said, you just have to look for them. And also, it is about that price point, right? So that was $585 is what it ended up selling for. It probably could have gone for $620 if it was marketed correctly, really well.
More even.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it has lakefront and a canal.
Yeah. And sunsets on the lake.
Oh my gosh, sunsets on the lake, and it's part of the alligator chain of lakes. So I mean, it was
what that means for folks who aren't from St. Cloud, Florida, is that alligator chain of lakes. There are a bunch of lakes that connect together, and then eventually there's a way for you to get out to the ocean, right? On the
Right. Yep. So you can, the alligator chain, they all connect to each other. So you could take your boat from one lake to another. Which is a really cool idea. So they lucked out. They got more than they expected for on the house that we sold in Harmony. And then they were able to get this one for a steal. So they, with their leftover cash, they went out and bought a boat.
Of course, you can't be on a lake with a dock without a boat.
You can't. So there are deals to be had. I just think that they're going to take a little bit of look, if you're looking for a deal to be had under your $350, you're probably going to be
Yeah, I did see actually on that same street, there was a foreclosure that I missed out on. And there are still, be aware, like if you want to put on a foreclosure list, let us know, because that's always a good list too, to have coming as soon as they list to get in. And maybe, there might be like an opportunity to flip the house, right. Especially in this market. If you make it look nice, put a little, what do they say? Put a little lipstick on it and, and resell it, as long as your roof and your guts are all good. And,
yeah, absolutely. And so were there any other interesting statistics in the market on, things that have sold? I mean, what about Osceola County as a whole? Have they come out with their numbers yet for September 2021?
So our Association of Realtors actually only have, as far as August to September, stats aren't up yet, but just to get an idea, I mean, on the single family homes for Osceola County, surprisingly, for August of 21, 693 homes sold, and last year 640. So that's very, very close, right? Last year, our the active inventory was 1381, and now that was low last year. It's 687, which is crazy. And their medium days on the market is about the same, somewhere between 7 and 21 days. And the month supply for 21 is 1 month. Last year it was 2.7.
Wow. So you want to talk about being in a seller's market. I mean, we talked about month supply and what that means. So, I mean, we're far from what you would consider a healthy market, like a nice even where supply and demand meet. So, I do agree that we're going to be in this for a while, until we can kind of even things out. But we also have an influx of people moving in from out of state as well.
Right. And we, being Florida, you always had the people come from out of state because a lot of people like to retire here. But with COVID and companies allowing employees to work at home, that changed everything. Right. It's just the amount of people that came, and from California. That's not the usual place that people come from, but I hear they're fleeing to Texas and Florida. Right. And I've closed quite a few of those already, and they come, they sell their house for a lot of money and come here with cash, and they don't,
buy them up.
Yeah, I always like to give, especially when you're from out of state, I always like to give the comps. They might come and say, oh, this is all this houses? That's great. Let's, offer them whatever. I always run the comps anyway. I want them, and yes, they're at the high market. They know that they'll probably overpay a little for the house in this market. But just to make, myself feel better that, hey, I gave you the stats and, right. This is what it is. But it doesn't matter. It's a good deal for them.
Right. Absolutely.
They want a home.
Yeah. Well, so if you're interested in any of the St. Cloud market reports,
it'll be up on our website, company website, thecorcoranconnection.com, and we actually probably will start a new little leg of Discover St. Cloud. Will be in there, so that's good. And then just look under communities, and the reports will.
And if you have a home in St. Cloud, Florida that you'd like to sell and have marketed properly so you can get top dollar for your listing, reach out to Jeanine. I'm sure she'd be happy to help you.
Absolutely, yep. And and actually you can call 1-844 St. Cloud.
Very cool. ST?
Yes.
STCLOUD. Okay. All right. So 1-844 St. Cloud. That's awesome. And then I'd be really remiss, it's my favorite time of year. Halloween. Yep. I'd really be remiss if I didn't mention, I know we have a whole episode last week. We had a whole episode on all the great events that are going on, but we have the Dive-In Boovie is October 14th and 15th at the Chris Lyle Aquatic Center. So definitely want to go check that out. Mm-hmm. And then we also have the Pinktoberfest is coming up on October 16th as well. That's right. So those two things, don't forget about that. Can't wait to go, take part in those. If you have any photos or if you went out, if you see one of us out there, be sure to snap a picture and say hey. And a
lot of good events. And we talked about that on the last podcast for the month of October.
Yep. So many great ones. So with that, I guess, thank you for joining us again this week.
Thank you. And we'll get better at this.
Maybe. Thanks for joining. And if you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye.